what is your favorite port?
Well, I think for me, it's pretty obvious which one my favorite is. My favorite is Mahogany Bay, because that brings me to Daniel Johnson's Monkey and Sloth Hangout. The Mahogany Bay port I really like. There's a lot of stuff that you could do for free or very, very low cost right off the port. I haven't explored the beach at all yet because I'm always doing an excursion. I've been there twice now. The first excursion I went to where my sister and I got to hang out with monkeys and parrots, and it was like the pirate excursion. They kind of touched on the parrot thing for like 30 seconds, and then it was hanging out with all these animals.
And we have a video of the monkey excursion.
Yeah, I got to have a selfie with the monkey, with the mama monkey. That was pretty cool. So I quite like that. And the people who live on Isla Roatan, which is where Mahogany Bay is.
It's the island off the coast of Honduras that's part of Honduras.
They're very, very proud of their little island, and I guess Isla Roatan is, while it is part of Honduras, it's a very different part of Honduras. There's a lot of cultural. It's almost like they're the Quebecois of Hondurans.
They have different accents.
They have different accents, yeah. But they're very, very knowledgeable. And so both times I've gone on a tour. I just learned all this amazing stuff about the island. And this past time, again, we went to Daniel Johnson's Monkey and Sloth Hangout. And the animals are so well cared for. They're all rescued animals. So none of them have been purchased. They're in wonderful, like the sloths actually aren't really in cages. They are all in, there's a mangrove trees or, just right out there. And they all just hang out there. They're not, confined, but they don't leave. And they don't breed them. They just let them, if they want to mate, they mate, and that's the end of that.
Well, he shares his house with them, doesn't he?
He does share his house with them. If they're if it's getting a little too peoply for the sloths, they come inside. And they have like a 3-bedroom house, but they converted to 1 or 2 of the bedrooms into like this
sloth therapy room.
Yeah, exactly. There's like some monkeys, the spider monkeys, where they're not very good at human interaction. They're not desensitized or what, I'm not sure, acclimatized towards human interaction, so they don't allow people in there. But they're the cages, for lack of a better word, that they're in are huge. Enclosure. They're absolutely huge. They're cleaner than zoos I've been to. Like
cleaner than parts of my house.
And
tidy.
And they're super. They're all well loved and well cared for, and the people that work there are super knowledgeable. Daniel Johnson himself is a bit of a local hero, from what I understand. There was
a fire at Little French Key, which was a competing nearby sort of animal area that you could go to, and he ran over to help. And he got burns on his hands while helping to rescue the animals and try to protect the property.
And let it be known, like, some of the animals are there, like jaguars. I'm not sure if the jaguars were some of the animals he's rescuing, but I wouldn't want to find myself in that situation. And I've talked to the guy, and he's amazing.
He's also sort of a small business icon around there too, because he's employed so many people in the creation of this attraction. So,
and he pays them like living wages too. Like he pays them really well.
It's very ethical, which is quite nice.
And the other port I really like is Ensenada. I know.
Surprise!
I know.
If you've watched our Ensenada review, you know that she likes it quite a bit.
I'm a huge fan.
Most people don't think much of Ensenada, though. I know Sam is not a fan, despite going there repeatedly.
So many times.
3 times in a row last year, back to back to back.
I think Ensenada is this cute little, little beach property, hole in the wall type village, I guess.
It's kind of bite size.
It is a little bite size.
It's not too intimidating in that regard.
You could kind of stay in this. It's not super porty, like with like Cozumel, Grand Turk, all these other places. Like you're just hit with Del Sol and Tanzanite,
Diamonds International.
Like, buy all these things, and there's huge. It's crazy. And some people really like that.
The size of your children.
Yeah, and some people really like that. They like the kind of the safety of it being kind of familiar.
I like a little bit of that too.
And I don't mind that either.
Although I often find myself not buying anything there, but I do like it as sort of like an airlock into.
It slowly transitions you. But with Ensenada, you don't really get that. I mean, they do still have the Tanzanite and all that sort of stuff, but it's kind of sprinkled throughout the downtown area.
Yeah.
And so you get kind of, if you want like an authentic feel for Mexico, but you don't want to go to, Mexico City and risk getting kidnapped. No offense. You know, you can kind of get the feel for what Mexico truly is, while still kind of feeling safe, because
you're within walking distance.
You're within walking distance of the port
across their entire downtown core,
and they there's Wi-Fi all along the seaboard. They have
better
Wi-Fi than most places in Canada, honestly. And they have this comically huge flag that just makes me giggle every time I think of it. It's, I think, like 200 feet tall or something, and it's the size of several football fields. And you know, I wouldn't be surprised if it competes with. Well, no, it doesn't compete with the size of the VAB, the Vehicle Assembly Building flag in Orlando. Probably doesn't compare to that. It doesn't compare to that in size, but it's probably the next biggest flag that if they would say that's the next biggest flag in size. Or largest, that I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I like it.
It's an attraction on its own, the flag. Yeah.
And apparently it's the birthplace of the margarita. So,
woohoo! as a fan of fruity drinks, the girly drink drunk, as I like to say, which is an expression borrowed from Kids in the Hall. Full credit for that joke. Yeah, I enjoy the fruity drinks. For me, my favorite port, whenever I'm asked this, I always have to say Nassau in the Bahamas, simply because that's where Atlantis is located. So I'm not really saying what port on the whole I enjoy. This is really my favorite excursion. So there's the water park at the Atlantis Hotel in the Bahamas. It's absolutely amazing. It's a little pricey. When we first did it in December of 2013, it was like $120 with lunch. And it's nearly doubled in price since then. It's in the $200 per person range. Yeah. So it is expensive. But if you have the means, I highly recommend it. That's a quote from Ferris Bueller. So I do, though. And I think it is worth the money if you can afford it. I think Atlantis is one of the few places on the planet. It might be my favorite place to be on the planet. That amusement park, or the water park, is so great. The intense amazing. River and the floaty slides that go down and then up. Mind-blowing. The shark tank that you get to go on a floaty through or a body slide through. But the thing is like you picture things the way you see them on television sometimes. And so I'd seen commercials for Atlantis going back to 2006, probably.
Makes me think of Wheel of Fortune every single time.
and you know, I'd seen the pictures, and you just imagine that in reality it's not going to quite match. Like Disneyland's pretty good, but it's not quite as magical as it looks on TV. There's no actual Tinkerbell flying around, you know.
What?
And so you go there and you have your expectations, but you kind of know that they're not necessarily going to be fully met. And you're not sure in what way. And is it going to be long lineups? Is it whatever? And so one of the things that for me was shocking is I love water parks. I've been to quite a few. And so I often find that you have to wait for the inflatables. And so, but wherever you go in Atlantis, there are towers of these things anywhere near the intense river. And it's amazing. I use it like a transport network. I'll grab a floaty, hop on, and it'll take me to the next slide. Or base camp, you know, where my towel is. Or towels are plentiful. Lockers are plentiful, but those cost money. But the fact is that it's one of the few places where the commercials don't do it justice. And commercials always put things in the best light. If it's a hotel room, they're going to use that fisheye lens to make it look enormous. You know, a hotel pool, they do that kind of stuff. You get there and it's a little green. That water's not quite blue sometimes. And so we're kind of used to that. But this went in the other direction of being so much better. And I mean, of course, there are other things that we've discovered that are better than advertised. I think Carnival Cruises are actually one of those examples as well. And so that's my favorite excursion. Port on a whole is much harder to say because I don't actually like the port area in Nassau because once you get outside of the secure perimeter, the panhandling and selling is super, super aggressive.
It's almost Paris level aggressive.
Yeah. So I would argue worse. I would argue worse than Paris. And so
depends on where you are, perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just think in the way that they treat potential customers, I couldn't say how they deal with the law enforcement. Whereas Paris, I know that's really problematic. But yeah. So like, I don't know, for cruise ports.
The Cozumel one that we did the other day, or the last time we cruised, that excursion was quite great.
Sorry, which one?
The Cozumel excursion that we did, where we went to
I don't know how to say it.
Chuck It Up? No, that's in Washington.
No. Or am I confusing it with Costa Maya? I haven't edited those videos yet, but it was the other excursion we did on the June trip, right?
Yes, exactly. And so that
was quite nice.
Yeah, that one was quite nice. We got to
Oh, and I love the marina at El Cid in Mazatlan. I really enjoy that as well. So it's difficult to encapsulate an entire port because, like, I like Grand Turk because it's free. You get
Grand Turk is super pretty, but it breaks me. So I don't like, there are some sailings where I'm like, oh, that sailing looks really good. Oh, but it's got Grand Turk. And the first time I went to Grand Turk, I found out that hyperthermia is a thing.
Overheating instead of freezing, basically.
Yeah, and that was our first.
It's like a heat stroke.
Yeah, no, it was beyond a heat stroke. It was unreal.
It gives you flu-like symptoms.
Oh yeah, it was brutal. I basically was like locked in in our cabin for like 2 days straight.
Our first ever cruise,
and that was our first stop. And I had
nailed it in one.
Kind of had to like pull myself up by the bootstraps in order to make it to our next stop, which was Ocho Rios. And my mom and I had pre-booked something, and that's actually another really nice one. We went to the Bob Marley Mausoleum, and that was fantastic.
Yeah, and I did the Jamaican bobsled, which was fantastic, in Mystic Mountain. And Sam did Dunn's River Falls, which the video on that is amazing.
I would
that
like
is
to do
on my
that,
bucket list,
but I know I would break myself again. And then that's true.
We'll get you in a bubble or something,
yeah, right?
And push you up the falls.
And then the second time we went to,
I don't think that's a thing. Don't get your hopes up.
Be cool though. The second
would do that. Or go down in the bubble.
Yeah,
really.
I'd pay so much money for that. The second time we went to Grand Turk, I managed to shatter the top of my foot at Margaritaville. So I'm concerned as to what would happen to me the next time.
So favorite port is a really tough question because a port is a city and it has so many different things, and it could take a lifetime of cruising to try all the different excursions and really get a good feel for full, in-depth, 100% coverage of any particular port. So it's easier to answer favorite excursion, and so I think we're doing. There's something called the substitution effect. Is we're answering the easier question, which is what are our favorite excursions. So I mean,
I think city-wise, I think Ensenada is my favorite city-wise.
I do like the fact that it's walkable and there is the plentiful Wi-Fi, and so it's easy. You don't have to have a plan. You don't have to be, there's people trying to sell to you and stuff, so you want to be a little bit, you want to have your no gracias, chambered, ready to say at a moment's notice.
Soy Americano.
But it's and that's part of why I also like Grand Turk as well for me personally, is because again, I can just walk.
No one sells anything to you, really.
Yeah, there's virtually nothing. There's a little bit of like, hey, you want your hair braided on the beach. The Grand Turk thing is Grand Turk is unique to Carnival. They own the wharf and the dock there, so they're the only cruise ships that go to Grand Turk, and so I think as a result, it's a little bit more, I don't know, controlled, tame. I'm not sure if those are the right words, but so I like the ports where I don't have to stress or think as much, and so that definitely has some appeal as well because they're kind of welcoming in that regard.
Yeah. It's Grand Turk actually is genuinely beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And thinking also about port, the reason I didn't mention Hawaii is because I struggle to say which port in Hawaii I would like the most.
Hawaii.
We've cruised to Hawaii once, and so there were the 5 different ports that we did there, if you count the final Honolulu port as one of them. But
we didn't do any excursions.
Yeah, we didn't do a lot. So Kauai we did enjoy because I found a free shuttle to a shopping mall that was right next to a free beach.
Yeah,
and that was really quite fun and lovely. Wasn't complicated. Shave Ice is amazing.
Oh, I love Shave Ice.
Shave or shaved?
Shave.
Okay. What's the difference?
It's the fineness, the granularness.
Okay.
So shaved ice is like snow cones.
Okay.
And like Slurpees, whereas shave ice is that fine.
Only available in Hawaii. Except no substitutions.
Yeah, there's
and they put you can get Dole Whip inside of it. And
sometimes,
I was in an argument with somebody the other day. It was Burton or somebody. And they were like, "What's your favorite like Hawaii thing to have?" And they were like, "Dole Whip." And I'm like, "Shave Ice. It's a 2-in-1. I get the Dole Whip inside it."
Yeah, yeah.
And we're not necessarily in a rush to try everything. Also, I mean, that's one of the reasons I can't say what my favorite port is because I want to leave myself a good reason to go back, or something that I can do that's new or take advantage of if I were to go back.